Well, before we jump into this episode, these are one of the weekly segments where me and Georgie are going to talk about current events, hot topics, and wherever else is on our minds. We'd like to give a quick shout out to our sponsor. Georgie, who is it?
Erdinger.
Well,
my man's cracking one open. He's got my pal's going on one of his countless concerts that he attends. So what better way to kind of get in the mood and get nice and loose, ready to hear some good music than getting into an Erdinger. And, we are nearing the month of October, which is obviously known for Oktoberfest for all you beer fans out there. Erdinger's got a Oktoberfest in Toronto, I believe. Yeah. We've actually got the link in our bio for tickets. One of our great partners. Love working with new companies, especially very historic companies, and what better partner to have than one with a big event coming up. So,
Yeah, get your tickets, link in the bio here. Use the coupon code PALSPOD for $5 off and go check out their booth. Apparently, they got a really sick booth there. So we're going to be running a contest giveaway. We'll probably do something on this episode when we talk about Oktoberfest. And other than that, go pick some up at your local LCBO or beer store. #1 wheat beer in the world. And other than that, George, let's roll right into it.
What do you know? #1 wheat beer sponsor the #1 podcast. I mean,
on Queen West.
#1 podcast between Bathurst, Richmond, and anyways, we'll jump right in. We got another weekly episode of the Pals. I got to be honest, these ones fire me up the most. Sorry, let me rephrase that. I like these ones because we just talk about whatever we want to talk about. But like the last episode we had with Lee Baxter was one of my favorites. Boxing fan.
He was great, and the part that was annoying is that he bailed on us like twice before, and I was kind of like, you knew me. I was like, we're going to talk boxing. I don't really care about boxing. This guy just bailed. I don't know if he's going to be like a good storyteller and come in, or he's going to be like, fuck you guys, I'm too cool for you. But he was great. He was awesome. He was honestly great.
Yeah, if you hear this, Leah, we appreciate you coming on, man. It was great. Like I said probably many times in the episode for those who listen, like I've been a boxing fan for as long as I can remember, probably high school. And what Lee shared, even I didn't know kind of the behind the scenes and intricacies of all this stuff. So
and he explained it in layman's terms too, right? Like it's for a non-boxing fan, you understood exactly what he was talking about.
Yeah. Anyways, I liked it a lot. I thought it was a lot of fun. Like he's a good storyteller. It was funny. He like the way he tells you kind of, he didn't cross any lines, but he kind of gave us the nitty gritty and stuff, and he's not shy to kind of speak his mind. So
he actually didn't lose his train of thought either. Like he would bring something up, we'd jump in, like cut him off. He would tell that story and then go back and loop it back in together. So
I cannot do that. I cannot do that.
No, George, you can't.
Yeah, when I talk, it's just if I start going on a tangent. Sometimes if it's an important point, I can bring it back, but most times I can't. I think that's
it's like the Michael Scott meme.
Yeah, honestly.
Well, sometimes I start talking and I don't really know where I'm going with it, but I hope by the end of the sentence I figure it out.
Yeah, no, it was a great episode. If you haven't heard the Lee Baxter one, I highly recommend it. For those boxing fans, non-boxing fans, mixed martial arts, anybody in combat sports, it's a terrific episode. But anyways, we'll jump in. We got some topics to discuss.
Yeah.
We got
for those who missed a couple episodes before, me and George are gonna be doing weekly episodes where we each bring up like 5-7 different points, and we just kind of talk about things that are important to us right now. So, George, you want to pick the first one?
We'll try keep it. Listen, and the other thing too. Sometimes it'll be on a main theme through the whole episode. Other times it's gonna jump all over. This one might be one that jumps all over a little bit. First topic I have so I have two that kind of go hand in hand, and they are football related. The Monday Nighter. So we went down to the Monday Nighter in Buffalo. Me, my pal Rick, our buddy Glenn Johnson, not his real name, but we're gonna stick to the alias. Anyways, went down to Buffalo. Rick, what? So we obviously talked the ride back, but how would you summarize Buffalo fans in like a word or two?
I'd say happily aggressive.
Okay. I did not expect that. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm trying to also like I like Buffalo fans. If I'm a Buffalo fan, like it's cool, it's fun. I didn't see any tables breaking. I didn't see the ketchup thing. And majority of them, they do the ketchup thing where they literally like just like soak a person in ketchup.
What?
Yeah, they have like these ketchup bottles, and a dude just stands there, and everyone just sprays this guy in ketchup.
Oh, I've never seen that.
Never seen that?
No,
never.
It's
like during like winter months, it's on Barstool all the time.
I would absolutely hate that.
The thing is, if I'm a Buffalo fan, like the fans are fun, they're rowdy. There's just they're aggressive. Most of them were happily aggressive. Like people around us were fine. A couple I don't know, douchey remarks. There was one person when we were driving, and remember the guy was like, oh, fuck yeah! Like,
yeah.
Relax, the game hasn't even started. Like, you're in traffic. Like,
Not the game started. We were like in downtown.
and like we're walking by you.
Yeah.
Like you're stuck in traffic and we're literally walking faster than you're moving in your car. So like,
So the reason I asked, because I was like, first question that kind of came to mind. But if I honestly had to pick one word, I'm trying to think about this. I just think it's simply as angry. Like they're just angry. Like
okay, why?
Because I don't know why. I would like. I don't want to hate on Buffalo because I love Buffalo. The city of Buffalo is beautiful. I gotta put that out there. I truly love the city of Buffalo. Not sure why.
George taking a 3-week honeymoon to Buffalo.
Shout out to my fiance Becca. She loves Buffalo. I don't know what it is
First
about
man to ever take a honeymoon to Buffalo.
Honestly, I might go hit that theme park, that fantasy world that we saw driving back. Most sketchy looking theme park that was empty. You know this. I always like Rust Belt cities. You've seen this many times.
Hamilton.
So I won't dive too much into that. I genuinely like how Buffalo looks. Like when I go across the border and you see that old steel mill, all that stuff, the history, I'm like, this is cool. Mind you, it's gone through some shit. So like it's not the most easy on the eyes, and the people there are kind of, rough around the edges, and downtown's kind of, yeah. But they just seem angry. Like, it's not warm and fuzzy, not even kind of friendly. We've been to Tennessee a few times. We're fans. But we've been to Florida to go to games. Like, people are yelling in your face and stuff. We got heckled probably... So I only had a Titans hat on. Ricky had a jersey and a hat. And Glenn had a jersey. In downtown, we left the hotel, walking to get food, and then go get our Uber to go about 20 minutes out. We got heckled, 10 times?
Yeah.
All people in cars mostly driving by us.
Were, like, aside from that one person that aggressively yelled at us, most people were all right. They're just like beaking us, right?
Some were some were okay. It was like, oh, go Buffalo. Like even walking up by a patio, there was like, some younger people. They'd be like, oh, go Buffalo. I'm like, yeah, whatever. I don't care. And mind you, no Titans fan was going to that game thinking they're going to win.
And there was like no Titans fans either, which was like just awkward.
Yeah.
Like I've never seen a stadium, like even when like Toronto plays like when the Leafs play, I don't know, like fucking Winnipeg.
Yeah. Or
like Minnesota. You still see the odd fan here and there.
Yeah.
I feel like there was no Titans fans yesterday. Like when they scored that touchdown, we got up, we started yelling. I was like, oh shit, let's shut up and sit down.
Yeah. Yeah. It was, but the worst part, why I say angry, was the thing that annoys me most. So I think they're angry mainly because you go to the Super Bowl 4 times and lose. Mind you, most people that were there seemed too young to have like experienced it. But there's just this hostility and like anger, and they want to like, you can just look at somebody like they chirp, but it also looks like they want to swing at you. Like when we were walking the stadium, you probably saw this. What the heck? You saw when we were walking out of the stadium, come up the stairs, and there was these two guys. There were a lot of people like booing, like saying, "Oh, you losers," whatever. I'm like, yeah, okay, cool.
It's fine, yeah.
We suck. We got absolutely obliterated 41-7. But like, we're not there trying to like say anything. You guys won. Like if you win, you win. You don't need to say anything. You won. You embarrassed us. Like us leaving in the start of the fourth quarter should be like, oh, look, like you should feel bad for us. All they're doing is like, losers. I don't even want to say it. They're like basically making slurs towards your mothers and all these things. It's like, I looked at one of the guys in the eye and I'm like, look, two people did this. I'm like, you guys won. You have a better team. You're probably like one of the Super Bowl favorites, if not going to make the Super Bowl. Our team is shit. Derrick Henry ran for 12 yards. Like, why do you have to criticize what does my mother have to do with this? Like, we lost. And then I look back, I'm like, hey, man. And I literally said to him, I'm like, hey, calm down. You won. Like, good luck. I said, I hope you win the Super Bowl. I'm not being sarcastic. And the guy said, take a fucking hug, loser. I'm like, bro, I want you to win.
That's what I don't get. Like, when you're in an opposing, first off, I love when JR says real fans go on the road, because it's true, man. Real fans do go on the road. Going into an opposing stadium is difficult at times. Like, straight up, we don't know what it's like in Toronto because Toronto doesn't have real sports fans. Like, aside from like a handful of people, like
that's a hot take. I agree with it, but we're gonna clip that one.
I stand by that. Toronto does not have real sports fans. Game 6. Eastern Conference Finals, Raptors, Milwaukee, third quarter, 4-point game. Me and Georgie are standing up, and people behind us are telling us to sit down. I'm sorry, that's fucking bullshit. I remember looking back at the people, and they're like, can you please sit down? Like, we paid good money for these tickets. I'm like, well, we paid better money because we're a row ahead of you, so shut the fuck up. We're going to stand. Side rant. That's over. Yeah. But with Buffalo, like, I feel like they're legit fans, like, especially a lot of the American, like, those, I don't want to say grungy towns, but those, fucking... those blue collar towns, it gets difficult to go into there. And knowing that you're going into that town, it is fucking tough. Like at one point, I'm like, yo, fuck, like our boys are messaging, like, yo, be careful in the bathroom. Apparently they swing at you. I'm like, what? I'm like, I pissed in the stall twice.
You did?
I'm not fucking going.
I wasn't. Me and Glenn went in both by us two, and then we switched with you. So I just want not to cut you off. Finish your train of thought, but sorry.
Wait,
you know what? Finish your story first.
The second time I walked in, I literally walked in, and everyone looks at me. I was like, this is fucking awkward. Not a single Titans fan in here. I guess it's 35-on-1 here, eh, boys? And like a couple of people laugh, but it's tough to go into a visiting stadium with your jersey, with your hat, cheering. At the same time,
especially like those like
fucking Yankee Stadium,
the teams that
like
really
Baltimore. I'm assuming it's got to be hard. Pittsburgh's got to be hard. Fuck, man. I'll walk into LA Rams Stadium with a fucking visiting jersey any day of the week. Vegas, no problem.
Like, yeah.
But these like fucking blue collar towns.
There's some animosity. You get it more from the younger people too. The old people, like,
they're all friendly.
They're having a good time. They
good
don't
luck
care.
Today. Watch out for those beers. They might come flying at you. Like, thank you. Appreciate that.
But then you have the young guys who are in their like 20s. They just want to yell and throw hands.
Like, what's the point? Like, you see, like, we're not chirping back hard. Like, we're like, we knew we were gonna lose, so it's a tough one. But we're beaking back friendly. Like, we're trying to have fun. Like, when you're smiling, it's hard to fucking chirp somebody. Like, remember the one guy? Some guy comes up to us, and he sees us on the television. He goes, "Hey, man, you suck." And it's like you watched his face try to like chirp us, but I'm just standing there smiling. It's like, all right, bro, like that's
So most people are okay. So you gave me a point when you talked about that about Toronto fans. Okay, whose fans are worse? And I'm gonna leave worse as like your own interpretation.
Okay,
Buffalo or Toronto, and then explain why you think that.
I'd rather be a Bills fan than a Toronto fan. A Bills fan than a Maple Leaf fan or a Raptor fan or a Blue Jay, honestly, or any Toronto fan. The reason why the Bills actually love their team. They're not there for like the corporate partnerships. They're not there because it's date night. They're not there because they got the free ticket from their cousin's mother's sister who won it at work or something. They're there because they want to be there. Toronto sports fans, they're there because it's either a workouting, it's a date night. Raptors is a fashion show nowadays. I feel like everyone just goes there to look cool and like, man, I'm there in my jersey, my hat every fucking time. And I'm like, girl beside me is like decked out in Louis Vuitton outfits, like just like looking hot, taking the picture. Yo, I get you want to take pictures. I take pictures at majority of the sporting events I go to outside of the city of Toronto. Like I did it yesterday. I love it because it's a fond memory. And it's like, especially when I travel for sports, I love it. The problem is like, if you're doing it in your own city of Toronto, it's like how many games you go to a year? Like I've seen you like 10 times. And every time you got a different outfit, different fucking gorgeous purse. You got your sunnies on. Like, what like, are we cheering here or are we at a fashion show? And then Toronto's all like the Leafs are all suits. Jays is a fucking mix of everything at this point. I don't even know what Jays fans really look like anymore. TFC fans are fucking sick.
TFC fans are really good.
TFC fans are the best fans in Toronto. No questions asked.
I think hands down TFC are the best fans.
So I guess depending on what team, TFC fan, I'm like if just the sport.
So
was
basically,
bigger,
the fans that sit between Spadina, Bay, that pocket.
Yeah.
The ones that go to the games there is what you're saying. I gotcha.
What about you?
It's a
and this is tough because like I love Toronto too. Everyone knows I'm a diehard. Right?
I do believe there is a lot of like Toronto Maple Leafs have a lot of diehard fans. I would say a lot of them, the majority of those diehards don't go to as many games as like the corporate crowd. Which it's no secret. You see it in the stands. Probably happens in Montreal and New York and a bunch of stadiums. But like teams down 3-2, like heading to third. It's not like they're standing firing up. Last night, Monday, the craziest thing that I saw at the Bills game. No one sat down for 4 quarters.
No. You sat down between quarters.
We sat down because it got tense when we scored on 4th and 1, and we were like cheering. We were like, let's sit down.
And remember the bad call?
Yeah, they missed a bad penalty. It was actually not even a bad. They missed it. It was like a phantom call. We got some kind of offside call, whatever. But I don't know if I've ever seen that because even when we went to see Florida Gators play, they stood for like a good chunk of it.
And then people sit down.
But then you sit down. The Bills fans did not sit down for 4 quarters. I've never seen that before. And guys in front of us are saying, yeah, people like, you don't sit down here. No. You don't sit down. It was one of the loudest, maybe one of the louder atmospheres I've heard. I was wondering the whole time, every time Tannehill was taking a snap, I couldn't hear myself think. Like it was, you could
It hit 103.
It was crazy.
It was like averaging 103.
But you see, like that's if you're there to support your team, which is the purpose of going to a game, is for the passion of it, the love of it, to support your team. That should be the purpose of going to watch a game live. Why wouldn't you stand up, if not all of the game, at least for the most important moments? I've never seen that in Toronto. For the Raps playoff games, I did see it a lot. Like there was a few games where chunks of the stadium were sitting, but it's weird because you'd see half the stadium stand, the other half sitting. Then if you're in the sitting section, you stand up, someone would say, "Hey, please sit down."
No, I remember that was also fucking bullshit.
Like everyone get up. And the one thing that I'll never forget, and this already, was the time at the Jays. My brother and I were there in 2015, and I'm gonna tell it to you again. It was bases loaded, 2 outs, Donaldson up. Donaldson's up. It's the last strike, last at bat of the season, basically. Jays are already going to the playoffs. Donaldson almost all but has the MVP locked up. Well, we have one of the best seasons in history of the Jays. Me and Yanni stand up, and our seats were probably third baseline, 5 rows up. So we're pretty close to the front. We stand up. Lady behind us says, "Hey, can you please sit down?" We said, "Ma'am," and we said respectfully. The
Anything that comes after these words
is going to be bad.
Disrespectful.
No, but we said, look, respectfully, that it's the last out. Bases are loaded. Our team is going to the playoffs. It's the last home game. Like, we should be standing the entirety of the game. We're like, just get up. It's 3 strikes. It'll be over. We're like, it's not too much time to stand up. Then the guy next to, or a lady next to us, like, yeah, like, it's okay. It's fine. The people next to the people behind us, like, yeah, everyone should get up. Slowly start standing up. Everyone kind of around us starts standing. The lady behind us calls the security or the usher sitting right at the front, row 1, basically facing us, waves him over, asks him to make us sit down. And we said, hey, first of all, we're allowed to stand to watch this game. Second of all, it's over in 3 minutes maybe. He's either going to get a base hit, he's going to strike out. It's over. Like, what's the problem? And the guy kind of reluctantly said, okay, yeah, we can't do anything about it. And we're like, yeah, like, I turn on, like, listen, I'm not trying to cause problems. Just stand up, support your team. And then at that point, she's like, oh, you should sit down. You're being disrespectful. At that point, we're like, listen, they're not going to get through to her. I'm just standing up. We're enjoying this. What happens? Walk-off grand slam, Josh Donaldson. Jays win the game. One of my favorite memories, me and my brother, like, at a Jays game, aside from that, Debbie Downer. But anyways, one of the best. And that's my issue, I guess, to summarize this, of why I'd rather be a Toronto fan, because we have more teams. We have, like, the organizations clearly are prioritizing winning, even though the Raps win, but Leafs not so much. But they clearly want to put a premium product on the fields and the ice and the court. You have more options. The stadiums are great. I love Scotiabank Arena and BMO Field. But I would rather watch a sporting event if I had to choose. I'd rather watch a Bills game if I was a Bills fan at that stadium, because of how electric it is.
100%. There were so many things, I had to write everything down because I came up with so many ideas while you were talking there. Like, we're going to clip that moment, 17-minute mark, that story about, like, standing, because I'm actually curious to know what people think about this, and that's why we'll clip this and say, like, put it to a vote on, like, our stories or something.
Yeah.
Do you think you should be allowed to stand the entire game, no matter what? People behind you want to sit, they can sit. Do you think you should be allowed to stand, yes or no? I'm asking you.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So Usher comes up to you and says, hey, can you sit down first quarter of the game? Like, do you think it's depending on the game, depending on the moment, or is it? We talked about this, and I know you want to share this point, so I won't talk about this. But even before you share that, I do believe that if you pay, and every arena might have different rules, but if you pay for the right to, like, you pay for that seat, you're paying for the right to your
the
little
game.
Square, your little 3x3.
Now they've been changing the rules, because you see in the NBA, people, like, get really vulgar with their heckle, and they cross lines. That stuff's not okay. That's never okay. But to stand up to support your team, sure. Should you be courteous, sit down during not important plays? Yeah, but, like, you can stand up. And I would think that the arena and the organization would want you to stand up. Like, do you not think?
I think you're reading my mind.
Do you not think that when the Raptors are down, or up like 3? Sorry, when the Raptors are down 2. Fourth quarter, 30 seconds left, and they have to foul that team, and they got to shoot free throws. Do you think they don't want every single person standing up, yelling as loud as they can? Does it impact the shooter? I don't know. Can't say for certain, but you want it to be as disruptive as possible. There was a
fact. I read somewhere with free throws at college level. I don't know about pro level, but in college level, maybe I'm making this up. I don't know. But I thought I remember reading something where at the college level, free throws misses are noticeably different at home versus away. Like shooters.
They go nuts though.
That's college level.
But you see what college basketball does.
Yeah.
They make signs. They do cartwheels behind the net. Like they go all out.
So,
and they do it because they will do whatever it takes within the letter of the law to help their team win. Why? Like rather, let's say it's the Leafs.
Remember like fake pregnancy baby out or whatever?
Oh, and they're pushing. Yeah, like they do they pull the guys through, or they have the giant screen where they change behind them. They flash the guys when they open it. But as a Leafs fan, let me ask you.
Wait, sorry. To finish up that, is this?
It's on that point. Like, what would you? And I'll finish it there. As a Leafs fan, every Leafs fan. I mean, I'm a fringe Leafs fan, but as a Leafs fan, everyone complains next year. Not only complain, we get like defeated. Rather than having that negative energy, why not use your power? If you have the means to go to a game, take all that anger and all that pent up energy and yell the entire game as loud as you can.
Cheer,
and
not
support.
yell. Cheer,
yeah, sorry, yes, and support your team. Like, like there's like this pall, especially over the Leafs, this cloud of this. Like, we're just always disappointed. Okay, sure, it sucks not to win, but like, why not go and be better fans? Anyways,
I think you nailed it. I think in terms of standing, I think it should come down to like the game discretion. You're getting pumped, fucking sit down. You know what I mean? Like you're getting pumped, sit down. A non-important like time of the game, you're up like 20, like second quarter, third quarter, whatever. Cool, great. Sit down. Playoffs, there should be a no sitting rule. To be honest, it should be everyone get up off your chair because as much as the stats might not dictate, I think people notice that. Like you walk into a building, imagine you see everybody fucking standing, and you're opposing me, and it's loud in a basketball court. Because basketball, you see everybody. There's you can't not see. Hockey, the glass, the mesh, okay, maybe whatever. But in like basketball, you see it. I don't have the facts to back this up, but you would assume that it would make a big difference.
Yeah.
So like they should be like telling people that. Did you notice in Buffalo last night? And this is gonna kind of lead me to my next one. Did you notice in Buffalo on the jumbotron any third down? Like Buffalo's down, shh. It literally says on the thing, please be quiet.
Yeah.
When we're going, please make noise.
Yeah.
It literally says this on the jumbotron. That's what I think Toronto's missing. Like we used to do the whiteout. Remember during the playoffs with the blue out? Now we give away little fucking towels. Give everyone a fucking t-shirt. Get fucking whatever Vista Print or whoever the sponsor is to print out 20,000 shirts, all one, and it should be a sea of blue. And they should say, please, and literally on the back say, please don't sit down. So when you look at the person in front of you, it says, please stand, or please stand up. Like
a good marketing idea.
Man, it's just insane. Like every time I'm there, I was like, why are people sitting down? This is why we lose, because maybe our fans aren't good enough.
Maybe we should make those shirts whenever we sit together, not often, but often enough, and we should print it on the Leaf shirt. On the back says, I'm not sorry, I'm supporting my team.
Yeah. Please stand up.
Yeah, please stand and support your team.
So this kind of brings me to two things. First thing, do you remember when we went to Chicago versus Leafs in Chicago?
Yes.
The Blackhawk fans, those were some of the best hockey fans I've ever seen. And they were loud. Mind you, they sat down. But I remember at one point there was a lot of Leaf fans there, and we started cheering. And then I just remember, as soon as we got loud, and like loud enough, like the whole arena, but all the Leafs fans in the arena were in unison. Yeah, it was in unison. I just remember the cloud of fucking like Blackhawks fans that just took over this. Yeah. I was like,
they're like, we're not going to allow this in our barn.
Yeah, and I just remember thinking, I'm like, oh my God,
yeah,
that was unbelievable.
Yeah.
I remember thinking, I'm like, I'm going to sit my ass down now. You guys own me.
Do you remember when we went to Golden State?
Yeah.
And we went to Golden State for game 3 of the NBA Finals. That team had already won 2 championships, and for the first quarter, the entirety, maybe longer, no one sat down.
No one sat down.
No one sat down.
That's how it should
And
be.
not only that, like I remember, and maybe I missed this one is kind of, I'm not sure if I'm remembering it accurately. JR went by himself. He came with us, but like got his own seat, didn't sit with us. We were with our dads. He sat behind the kind of bench area. It was all yellow t-shirts and one guy in a red shirt. And every time Raps were in a critical possession, he stood up. He stood up. And he said, people behind him were beaking at him. Like, they're like, but that, you know what? Like, you go and support your team.
Respect it.
Be smart. I wouldn't do that by myself at a Bills game or a Philly game. Fuck. I do not care to die.
So now let me ask you this. Do you think the fact that football only has 8 home games regular season, NFL, do you think that makes it, like if they played 41 home games, do you think all the fans would stand every game?
I don't think so.
I think that's the thing about football. Since there's 8 home games, like, bro, I feel like if you're a season ticket holder, you don't sell your tickets. Like there's only 8 games. Like you've got the 8 home games circled in your calendar, and you're not missing. You like the guys yesterday, half of them took off work. 100 or Monday. I bet you half of them took off work.
Or at least left at lunch.
Or left at lunch. Yeah. Or like came in on Sunday, catch up.
Yeah.
Came in Monday morning. By noon they were gone. Because like we got there 3:00, 3:30. Or no, we got there at 4:00. But it was already set up. Like we were not coming in empty. Like it was busy already.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know if they would stand up as like there'd be people standing, but because it's less, it also makes football like a true event. All sports are obviously an event, but let's take TFC for example. They probably have less games. That season's 20 something games, so 10 home games to 11 home games. Is that accurate?
I think it's about. It might even be 30 games. Yeah, 15 home games.
So like during the summer months, it's warm out. Like that, the Red Army or the U sector marches through Liberty. If you're going 42 games, like they might do it, but you might have less people doing it.
Yeah.
So Jays, like it's really hard.
Impossible,
like it's impossible.
But mind you, at the same time, Vegas nights, every home game they do a march.
Yeah, but keep in mind that's also Las Vegas. They have the money to pour
show,
into it. They put on. I've been to a game there. They put on a show.
Yeah. I've never been. I heard it's like
it's a good stadium.
I've actually
seen two sporting events there, boxing and hockey.
I only saw March Madness. I saw UCLA Lonzo Ball versus Arizona Wildcats.
That's pretty cool.
It was cool.
Pretty cool.
The thing about Vegas is I feel like it's part of a show, and the thing is it's also a fairly new team.
Yeah.
So it's like they were like, we got to start this off right. We're gonna create a tradition, and it's like if you start it, it's kind of hard to stop it. And they were good season 1.
Yeah.
Imagine they sucked year 1 and like it'd be a completely different story. They went to Stanley Cup Finals. Mark Flair was the fucking Andre Flair was a stud.
That's crazy. But yeah, I do kind of on that note. Yeah, I love Toronto. I love being for Toronto. I love the fact that all our stadiums are the downtown core. Like I think that's the coolest thing. There's not many things like going downtown on like a chilly November night. 7 p.m. puck drop, Leafs game, a Raptors game, whatever it is, but Leafs is kind of different. Like you're going down there, you feel the energy, and it is a good atmosphere. But Toronto, it's just like it feels. This was kind of where I'm going with this. It feels like it's not as much of an event. It probably is for a good chunk of fans. There's a lot of people that don't get to go to games often. First game or a couple that they go to a year, so it's an event for them. They take a lot of pride. And there's probably a good portion of the population that goes.
I strongly
disagree. But in the lower bowl, you have people who are season ticket holders who go very often, like yourself. Yeah. It is an event for you, but it's also it's also routine.
It's a game. It's not an event.
Right, but it's like a routine. It's a game. You're fortunate to go.
Yeah, but it's
hold on. Okay, so the last thing is like then you have people who go like I go. Sometimes you have you take a customer or you go. They invite you to go to one of their games on a supplier of yours, whatever it is. You have people in the corporate world sitting there who are probably conducting some form of business or networking, whatever it is. So it's not an event for I think the majority. I think the minority there. It's a game.
Yeah.
And that's why I think football is different because
sorry, you think it's a game for the minority?
Majority it's a game. Yeah, the minority it's like an event, like a destination, the excitement to build up.
Yeah, you're going down there 4:00. You got your jersey on.
Exactly.
You're going to the bar to talk hockey.
Exactly. And that's why I think football. Yeah, that's why I think football is different because everyone is going for the event. It's 8 games, so it's an event. It's a
7-8 hour event.
Yeah.
It's not a 3-hour game. It's
a tailgating, like all of that stuff.
Post games, you're eating the leftovers, the barbecue, you're shooting the shit, talking.
Exactly.
Think about outside of ACC, an hour after the game, it's fucking ghost town.
Yeah. And there's
I bet you last night.
You might get Maple Leaf Sports, Maple Leaf Square, Real Sports.
No, not Maple Leaf Square. Maple Leafs.
Real Sports, and a little bit down that way towards like Skydome, whatever. But most people clear out, kind of probably go up to like King Street area, Queen Street,
or wherever they head off to, right? I definitely agree with you on that, though. Majority, it's a game.
Yeah.
Minority, it's an event.
Yeah.
And that's one thing we're missing. Like Buffalo, we will never have, maybe not never, because never say never, but I doubt in our lifetime we'll be able to experience what Buffalo Bills fans experience on a Sunday.
Yeah, but it's everywhere too, right? Like I keep going back to this.
I know, fucking
Florida
Washington sucked.
Washington was terrible. The worst stadium I've ever been to.
Like, I was a joke. Home opener. And it was that bad.
Home opener and season opener.
Yeah.
Week 1.
Joke.
Awful. Ran out of food in the stadium. That's one of the worst. That's the worst stadium I've ever been to.
Like that event, that experience was very lackluster.
Yeah, that's a good word. That's a very good word.
Like just lackluster. Honestly.
But the thing is too. That's why we're talking about somebody down. I don't think we're gonna get football in Canada. It sucks. I've become obsessed with football the last couple of years. But the same time is, I don't even know if it would be the same if it came here. Like when we went to go see Florida,
it would 100% it would.
But the thing is, look, they did Atlanta. They did that thing where they brought Atlanta Falcons here, played games.
Again,
it's different. It's different. I know, but like, mind you, they probably picked teams that don't have a lot of Canadian appeal. And we said this, like, if you brought the Steelers, if you brought
the Dolphins,
the Cowboys,
Patriots,
but I'd even say the
Bills.
first three. No, the Bills. They bought the Bills. I don't think it did well.
Really?
I'm pretty sure it didn't do well. Maybe, but I don't think so. But those first three, there's like a lot of the people that were immigrants to Canada in the last 50 years. It seems just by my gut instinct that those three teams are very popular. The ones that won a lot back in the day. You bring those teams, maybe it's a different story. But it didn't do well, and I don't know if it would do well. It's a different culture.
No, I think if they brought a team, because there's so much money behind it. Let's say MLSE brought it. There's so much money. I think every week there'd be a massive stage with a concert, a pregame concert. Just how when we do the Grey Cup, like the Grey Cup is massive in Toronto. Like it's a big event in Toronto. It sells out instantly every year. There's the tailgating and the big thing. Mind you, again, it's just one event. It's the championship game, so of course it's gonna be big. But you notice it, like 4 a.m. last calls all over the city, Grey Cup weekend.
Yeah.
You see, like I've gone to them, and I enjoy the Grey Cup because it's the closest. The Grey Cup is the closest thing Toronto will ever get to an NFL team. Not ever. Sorry, I need to stop saying that. I apologize. It is the closest thing we will get to an NFL team in the next 30 to 50 years.
Yeah. Listen, there's a high likelihood, but at the same time, you got to remember, like the leagues are always looking to expand. Canada's getting a ton of immigration, more population growth. Like you never really know. We talked about this on the way down. I never thought about like the logistical aspect of it. If you added one team in Toronto, then you have an odd number.
You have to be a replacement.
Yeah, it's hard. You have to get someone to relocate.
Your best bet is like a Jacksonville. You need Jacksonville to suck for the next 20 years.
That I don't see as unlikely because one day, there's Canadians who have a lot of money, very well to do. One day, one of them is going to put a bid in on a U.S. team. They might not get the votes to get it, but all it takes is one Canadian to take ownership,
super rich Canadian,
or a business owner down there to realize, hey, if I move to Canada, there's no NFL team. I control the entire, not market immediately, but you control.
You have an entire farm system.
You take all the fringe fans, and that they would be bandwagon onto that team. You take. In 5 to 10 years, when young kids grow up in high school, you get all those fans.
Well, the thing is, too, it would flourish.
Think about the Raptors.
Think about
the Raptors.
Think about this, George. No matter what, you're a season ticket holder for Raptors and Leafs. An NFL team comes there, and they say season tickets are the license just to buy the seat, 30, 40 grand. And then it's $5,000 a season for the 8 games.
I think it would be more than that.
You're going to buy it.
Yeah.
Because you know what the Leafs are right now, and you know what the Raptors are right now. Like, our license for Leafs, our season license, like probably worth like $200,000.
Yeah.
You bought it 30 years ago for nothing. Not nothing, but you know what I mean?
Relatively speaking.
Right now, you can't get row 4 seats at the ACC or at Scotiabank Arena for the Leafs. It's just not possible.
Yeah, I don't even think you can get within the first 20 rows if you
I didn't think you could get in the lower bowl.
You'd have to buy.
You have to buy privately.
You have to off the person.
Yeah,
and then your name's not on that thing, so you're at the mercy of the person with their name on it.
It's fucking it's crazy. So I think there's so many businesses that would say, you know what? This could be the next Leafs. I'm going to buy up 4 seats.
And I'll tell you, this sound bandwagony. By default, if a team came to Toronto, they would officially be my second favorite team. I wouldn't trade for them. I wouldn't betray the Titans. I would hope they came here and were in the AFC, so the Titans had a chance to play them every few years.
For sure. I'd be a big fan instantly.
100%.
I'd have jerseys, fucking hats, everything.
Yeah, 100%. I would go to every game,
and I would cheer for them unless they're playing the Titans.
Yeah.
And 8 games a year? You can't tell me you can't dedicate 8 Sundays of your life?
I just
what do you mean 8 Sundays? Because remember, there's probably a Monday and a Thursday in there.
Well,
so maybe
Monday and Thursday if you're good.
You'll get one of those.
You think so? I don't think so.
16 weeks, 32 teams. You got to think about between Thursday and Monday. Every team gets at least one of those.
Probably right.
Look at the Browns and the Steelers this week on the Thursday nighter. Get out of here.
I'm pumped to watch that game. Not actually. Yeah. Anyways, we kind of touched on Toronto sports.
This was a good one.
A lot of hot takes. And I'm really curious what people think, and like Toronto fans. And this is not trying to sound like. Not trying to sound like, well, we've been everywhere, so we can compare Toronto fans. But honestly, once you start visiting other stadiums, and we've seen other games for basketball. I've seen maybe one game for 2 games. I've been to 2 baseball stadiums. Been a bunch of football stadiums.
You've only been to 2 baseball stadiums?
I've done the old Yankee Stadium,
Wrigley,
Whites. I've done both in Chicago.
The new Yankee Stadium.
I don't think I went to new Yankee Stadium.
I've done new and old.
There might be one more in there.
Cleveland. We went together.
Baseball. Anyways, it might come.
We went to Cleveland.
No, I didn't see the Indians play.
Who'd I go with then?
I didn't go see the Cleveland
Me, Adonis.
Indians.
Remember we had the cutout?
I didn't come to that one. Who's his tall buddy?
Brock?
No. Random. I can't remember who it was. And DBA. Well, I didn't come to that one.
You didn't come.
But once you start traveling to go see other your team or even other teams play elsewhere, you start to really notice like different fan bases. And again, not to say Toronto is a terrible fan base. That's not by any means what I think. Like would I rather be go watch a game in Toronto or go get ridiculed or get yelled at by angry people in Buffalo? Like honestly, it is nice to have some like sense of safety when you go to games, but yeah, like the fans in different. It's just interesting to see different places and how the fans are. But anyways,
what fan base is your favorite fan base? Any sport, any team, anything?
Oh wow, that's a favorite in just a favorite. Like one thing I would like to be a fan of that.
Yeah, and like if you could go to games, you would go regularly.
If I could go to games, I'd go regularly.
And like a sport that you could watch.
Do you have one in mind? I don't know. I'm trying to think.
Do you know what I like? The one as I was asking, this is the one that came to mind. Manchester United. I went to a Man U game in 2013. Me and John, and I remember we were trying to get tickets. And like, no, you can't get tickets. It's sold out. I was like, hey, there's impossible to not be able to buy tickets. Talk to a guy at like a grocery store. Like, you got to go there first thing in the morning. Me and John the game's 1:00. Me and John got to the bar at 7 a.m. It was lined up around the corner. It was slammed. And I'm like, the people are on the bar chanting, screaming at 7 a.m. We're like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
So that was really cool.
Soccer fans are different.
I'd never seen that. I thought that was just unbelievably cool.
Though, honestly, the one I'm thinking about is like, truthfully, I honestly might say the Raptors. Oh, no. Not so. The reason being, as if you're asking me who I want to be a fan of, right? Like who? What's your favorite fan base? Oh, my favorite fan base, like to be a part of.
And to cheer for.
So you know why I say this? Like, while I think there's room for improvement, it's also a newer team. It's also a newer team. But as a fan, I can tell you that I deeply respect the Raptors organization, Masai Ujiri, Bobby Webster, the team they have. Like, as a fan, I feel confident. I'm not saying I'm going to be right, but I feel confident that from even when we won, even before we won, when he was making those moves, Masai Ujiri, like putting competitive teams on the floor, I feel confident that as long as Masai Ujiri and even Bobby Webster are at the helm, there will be a competitive Raptors team on the court. And knowing that, like that feels good more than anything. Well, I know
2 years ago we sucked. Finished fourth last. That's how we got Scotty Barnes.
Yeah, but we got Scotty Barnes.
Yeah.
And then now what happened? Did we make the playoffs last year?
We made playoffs last year.
We didn't. We did.
We did, and we got beat by
first round.
Yeah,
we got swept, I think.
Not Brooklyn. Was it Boston?
I can't remember.
Boston was 2 years ago when we got beat first round.
But anyways, yeah, as a fan, like my favorite organization, I'm trying to think of other good competitive organizations. Like
Philly beat us last year.
You could say, like New England back in the day, whatever. But I hate Boston teams, so I would not want to be a supporter of them.
I like Boston. I don't mind Boston.
As a fan, yeah, I would say the Raptors. But I'm just trying to think of one that like I see travels well and like goes to the games. I honestly can't think of one, man. I don't know. It's a hard one.
All right, what do you think?
Like, I think about football. Baseball wouldn't pick a team in baseball.
Fuck baseball.
Basketball. I don't want to probably go with football. Being a Tennessee Titans fan is nice. I'm kind of ashamed they didn't travel.
My
on
respect
Monday.
for Titans fans went down.
I got a Monday nighter.
Monday night.
How do you not fly to Buffalo on a 6-hour flight?
Nashville's fun to fucking play in.
That's what I mean.
That was fun.
Anyways,
I'm gonna pivot to a completely different topic, more of a current events topic now. I want to get your take on this because I've been seeing a lot on the news about the Queen's death, 4.1 billion estimated viewers, and it apparently cost the country like I think it was like $30 million or something, 30 million pounds
to stream it.
No, to the funeral itself.
Oh.
Now, knowing that there's also like world hunger and the Patagonia guy just donated $2 billion to cure world hunger or whatever.
He donated his company to a foundation. I think that's
for children's hunger.
Yeah, the intent is all the profits to go in. I guess I don't know exactly what, but yeah.
So anyways, that happened during the Queen's death. What are your thoughts on the country spending that much money I think it was actually like 100 million or something. It was an insane amount on the queen's death, because there's two sides to the story. The one side is like she's the longest queen ever, 78 years or whatever, and she's done so many amazing things. There's also the flip side where it's like that money could be spent on so many better things.
I would venture to guess that like that money was not for like buying like decorations and flowers. It was probably on the resources and the logistics of putting it together, shutting the streets down.
Oh yeah, lots of stuff.
For that reason, I mean, I think it's an inevitability.
Well, there's also like a little mini tour, right? Because they have to move her body from like city to city.
Yeah. But I would say that's a bit of an inevitability. Like if you say, okay, we're gonna just open up the thing and let everyone go and see her, like it's gonna be, I mean, not mayhem. I feel like the English are pretty.
No, but you could
chill.
do it for a noticeably smaller.
But I wonder if they could, because that line, I guess I didn't watch all of it, so I'm making a lot of assumptions here and like just speculating. The line I heard was like 3 miles long or something.
Yeah, they said it was an 8 to 12 hour line.
Okay, so like just fencing alone for that, 3 mile fencing, like 3 mile fencing, cops along it to monitor it, like cops blocking the streets for traffic. You also want to have high security. I'm not gonna like name any events, but in Europe in the past decade, there have been some events where large groups are, like someone does something.
So you think it's justified?
So you want to protect the people too. You don't want to set like when you congregate that many people there, it could attract a target, just saying. So you got to protect them. So that costs, the armed guards and the forces and all that stuff. Then obviously you have the marching. I mean, yeah, I don't know. Like, could you have done it? Could they have tried to nickel and dime and done it for 20? Maybe. But are you really going to like 30 pounds in a budget of a country when the queen's been alive for, I think, yeah. I mean, I have no issue with it. Like,
you read online, and so George, I agree with you first. Like, I'm the lady was around for 78 years. She's seen fucking wars. She's seen a lot of shit.
Becca told me this. I think 4 out of every 5 people alive today, know the queen. I think so, or born. Were born from the queen.
Yeah, like
to now.
She's been a staple in that country for the last 78 years, whatever. Like, it's wild the things that have happened during her reign. Like, and a lot of good. I'm sure there's bad that's happened too, but the way I look at it, if you think about, she's lived technically 3 life cycles, because I think kings and queens before her lasted like 25, 30 years. Okay. We've had, I think, 12 prime ministers during her reign. So you think about what each election costs the country.
What I don't know what they cost. Like, what does an election cost?
An election costs a lot. Like, if you think, but she's the head of. Okay, they still have elections for their prime minister, but imagine if they had to do a new queen every 20 years or something, every 30 years, how much that would cost. So like, the way I look at it, okay, it's a one-time big hit. Yeah, it's a massive hit. It sucks, but you didn't have to do it 3 or 4 times in that reign, in that span. So I'm okay with it.
Well, a lot of people are like saying it's a bad use of money.
Oh my god, yeah, a lot of people.
I guess we got to think about inflation.
Maybe it's just like fucking some of the things you see, but like 6buzz posted something.
Well, inflation's at an all-time high out there. Like, energy prices are like, from what I understand, like going through the roof because of the natural gas shut off from Russia.
I think the pound is bad right now too.
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of bad happening right now. Boris Johnson stepped out of office. They had an election, or he resigned or whatever.
Brexit too also.
There's a lot. I think there's a lot of bad happening there.
Of things, but
there's always going to be people that complain about anything. Yeah. They could have spent 29 million and people still complain. They could have spent 1 million and people would complain. Like, it's at the end of the day, there's always going to be haters and naysayers, and
it's inevitable.
Yeah.
I was curious to get and I purposely didn't bring it up on the road trip with you and Glenn, because I was just curious to know what you thought about it. And I was like,
I don't follow that stuff though. I know we had it on the background, like Becca and I one morning had it.
I didn't watch it.
It was on mute going through the thing, but
I saw the David Beckham thing. I thought that was cool.
There's a lot of stuff.
So David Beckham waited in line.
I saw that.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. Yeah, good, great for him.
Yeah. A lot of this stuff, I don't want to I don't know if it's gonna come out the wrong way. But a lot of current events, I just don't. I don't know. They just, I don't find them relevant to me. And sure, I'm not disrespecting the queen. Like, probably did some great things, but I couldn't tell you what purpose it served. This might be naive, and you might think that I'm like not cultured or educated, but I just I don't know the function of the role. I don't know what they do. I don't like this stuff. And I'm not saying just this specifically, but when cultural things happen, like, I don't know. I just think that it's, if you're passionate about it and you care about this thing, it's great. But I don't know. I don't get involved. I don't have strong opinions about these kind of current events.
I feel like there's just a lot of negativity surrounding current events. Like, even in Toronto, I feel like there's a shooting every day. And that's one thing I wanted to talk about too later. I feel like every week there's a shooting, and every major event in the city of Toronto, I feel like there's always a fucking shooting. Like Rolling Loud 2 weeks ago. That's massive for the city of Toronto. Like, that's a major rap festival coming through the city. I think it was like 100,000 people. I think there were shootings all 3 nights of it. Shootings. Yeah. You know, during Caravana weekend, always shooting. During Veld weekend, same weekend, whatever you want to call it, Veld, you want to call it Caravana. August long weekend, always fucking shootings. You know what I mean? It's just like, I feel like every time there's
downtown. I feel
like anytime there's a good happening for the city, there's a fucking just as big of a negative happening for the city.
You definitely see it more now, and if you like, you remember a few weeks ago we went out. I don't know if it was your birthday weekend or before that, in the summer maybe. I can't remember if it was before Europe or after. And we were downtown on King Street, and then it was before, because we were downtown on King Street, and then we left at Becca and I went home like midnight or 1, maybe midnight, and we were walking around King Street. We're like, man, we don't recognize anybody, and not to say we recognize everybody in Toronto, but when I lived downtown, you would see familiar faces, people that frequented different bars and restaurants and nightclubs. You'd bump into them on the street. I truthfully, when we walked down the street, when we were coming to meet at the brewery there,
Mascot.
Yeah, we were walking there, and I was
Maverick.
I was like, I don't recognize anybody, and like not a single person, not a doorman, not a person walking by, not a person in the coffee, whatever it is. I was like, this is weird, and it had this like weird feeling, not a weird feeling, but I just didn't know. Made me feel like I'm missing anything, not being out here as often anymore. And then that night, sure enough, there was a shooting like not far from where we were that night, like down the street.
It's
like
sad.
Think about that's terrible. Like, not only, I don't know, maybe it's
about
getting
young
older.
Kids nowadays, like they're like, you're 19 years old, you want to go out clubbing downtown Toronto. You go, Mom, Dad, can you give me a lift downtown, or can I have money for an Uber or whatever? I don't know. 19-year-olds do this. If I'm a parent, I'm not letting my kid go downtown.
Yeah, King Street's changed a lot.
King and
man.
Queen. I'm not, bro. Think about how many shootings there are. Like, you're gonna take the chance that your kid gets
feels like there's
stabbings. Stabbings these days. Like, what the fuck is happening?
But not that. The time the story I was just sharing about walking down and not noticing anybody or not recognizing anybody. I also feel like I noticed more cars like revving engines and flying down the street.
I'm in a good mood. Let's not talk about revving engines.
So this is something that just kind of dawned on me. I don't really like these pilot projects that happen on King Street. I think it disrupts the flow of traffic. It makes it confusing. Now, that being said, if that entertainment district is that chaotic at night, and there's still a lot of people that go out, make it a walking district, because you have idiots who think it's cool to get your beat up old car, put a muffler on it, and rev your engine or floor the gas on a green light and go 0 to 60, and it's still slow, but 0 to 60, and people are walking across the street, people are walking on the sidewalks. It is reckless, it is irresponsible. Those people should all be put away. Like, don't do that around people. But the only solution is I honestly think is to block the streets at night, make it a walking district where no cars can go, because those people are not going to learn unless they learn the hard way, and unfortunately something happens.
I just don't understand, like, when you're revving your engine there, it's like, I've never seen a girl or seen anything where someone's like, oh, that guy just revved his engine, I gotta go with that car.
I've never seen it happen with a Ferrari or a Lamborghini. Yeah. I've never seen someone rev an engine and somebody walk up and be like, hey, here's my number. What is the point?
I gotta talk to that person in that car, because that revved engine, that sounded so good.
Yeah. Has that ever happened in the history of engine revs?
I'm sure maybe one day it did. Oh fuck, maybe Fast and Furious 1 or 2 or something. George,
you know what?
You got there?
You gotta pee?
Yeah.
Because I'm gonna fire up the fantasy. I want to talk about. I don't know if we should pivot back to football, but I want to talk about what I believe is the right way to run a fantasy football league and the trade debacle of week 2. Or is that too much?
We can save it for week 3, because we can even do it. We can do like a 10-minute, 20-minute segment on football every week.
Yeah, that's true. What topics? Do you have any topics left?
I wanted to talk about. So I talked about the shooting, Rolling Loud, whatever.
Oh,
I had a really random one I want to talk about. I feel like it's not relevant now, but it's just.
Is it short, long?
It could be very short. I'm just curious.
It
depends. Vaping. I feel like fucking
that is the most. Okay, give us some context.
So
I just said vape.
So everybody obviously vapes now. I feel like it just took the fucking world by storm in the last 2 years.
That's fair.
Aloe. What was the first one that came out?
Juul.
I
think that's what kind of started
and then it started it, and that was like right at the beginning of COVID, right before COVID.
No. Juul has been around since probably 2015, 14.
Really?
Yeah, a long time. I remember I fought them before.
I remember, I feel like ever since COVID ended and people started going out again, just vapes have taken over. I don't see anybody actually smoke anymore. I see everyone vaping.
Yeah.
And it's like, Again, I have no research behind this. It's just, do you think that vaping is actually better for you? Because
So I'll give my opinion on this because I've, once smoked cigarettes, like I guess I was a smoker, you can call me.
You were definitely a smoker.
I was definitely a smoker. Yeah, definitely a smoker. I haven't smoked in a while. And I obviously vaped a little bit. I actually, sorry. I used vapes when I wanted to stop smoking because I figured you can kind of wean off of it, the nicotine, whatever.
I feel like that's exactly what every single fucking person says.
Right. For sure.
Now here we are.
So I did that, but then you kind of realize that they're equally as addictive. I would say, again, I've done both. I would say they're equally as addictive. The difference is that one tastes like candy or fruits or whatever. So there's less of that. I got to stop because my mouth feels gross or whatever. Those kind of side effects, I don't think. I've never experienced it with the vapes. Now the point is, do I think they're healthier? Truthfully, no idea. I don't think anybody knows. I have gone and Googled the ones that I buy, what's in it, whatever. And I believe the one that I use.
Which one do you use?
Aloe.
Aloe. Yeah, I feel like that's a popular one now.
I got it. Yeah. Look, I bought it because again, I don't know what's in it. Don't know if it's safe, whatever. There's a few ingredients, vegetable oil, a couple other things. So I'm like, you know what?
Everything.
It seems like the lesser of evils. When you're burning something, I feel like when you're inhaling something that's burnt, like smoke, it's a carcinogen, right? So
tar and shit.
This could have the same things. I feel like cigarettes are worse because of the fact that it combusts and you inhale that smoke. But yeah, I can tell you, quitting cigarettes was just trying to stop this thing. Because if you stop, I've never noticed. When I would smoke, if I try to stop, I could probably go a few days without it, and I would, kind of fall back in your old ways. This thing, if you stop a vape for a day, you really notice the nicotine you're trying to leave. You notice that you crave it. Yeah, it's crazy, and it's also probably terrible. I do think that regardless, smoking is one of the worst things. I listen to a lot of Andrew Huberman, who's a neurobiologist from Stanford. And he talks a lot about health, but broadly, one episode about best way to get best sleep tips, longevity, whatever, different topics related to health. Brings experts on, and he had someone on recently. Andrew Huberman brought on. I don't remember. Oh my God, you're killing me here. Anyways, this topic's gonna go. Ricky's stepping out to take a piss for the first time. This is probably gonna go. Run quick. Anyways, Andrew Huberman brought on who the heck did he bring on? Peter Attia, and they were talking about longevity and longevity, but also hormones and stuff related to that, like TRT, human replacement therapy, HRT, I believe. Anyways, they said the worst thing that any human can do is obviously smoke cigarettes in terms of increasing your morbidity. Your comorbidity rate or morbidity rate. I don't know what the right one is, but yeah, it's the worst thing you can do. And obviously I'm not proud that I once was a smoker and I kind of use these vapes intermittently, but yeah, they are definitely everywhere. They're, the FDA tried to make an example out of Juul and, ban them from stores, but I really don't think that's going to have any impact on this until they put a stop to it or make them illegal kind of across the board. People are going to find a way to get them. Maybe they sell them in vape shops and convenience stores, so you still can go buy them. I think they just wanted to make an example out of Juul because they were the first mainstream name to market that really kind of, I guess, advertised and catered to younger demographics and really tried to get them to tap in the same way back in the day cigarette companies tried to market it to younger people and make it seem cool and try to make it seem like the cool thing to do. No coincidence. The company that owned Juul is also a tobacco company that owns Marlboro. I think it's Atria, maybe. I think they own Marlboro and a lot of other cigarette companies. So, anyways, I just give my 2 cents, but I don't think the Juul thing's the vape thing's gonna go away.
Oh, definitely
until they ban it across the board.
Is it 19 plus right now? Is it like cigarettes?
I believe so. Yeah, but I mean, again, they're vape shops. You can walk in and just, fake ID. They're probably not too strict. You got a young teenager behind the counter working.
Yeah.
Not young teenager, like young adult.
Yeah,
anyways, it is everywhere. I mean, even the Bill Stadium, it's outdoors. You're not allowed to vape, but see guys.
What about in the sub shop?
Oh yeah, but that was weed. We walked in there and it smelled like marijuana, and then the somebody, I guess, did it again. They see the cloud of smoke, and the shop owner was like, "Hey, you can't smoke in here."
He's like, "What are you doing?"
That was an interesting one.
What do you got?
No, randomly. Do you know the guy? I don't know his name. He's a pretty big chef on TikTok.
What's he do? What kind of chef?
Like he just picked it up. He has a lot of grilling, like a lot of like smoker stuff, and he always says low and slow, and he makes anyways. He's big on TikTok. When I had it, I remember he'd always pop up. He has tens of, I think, millions of followers.
Okay.
He was sitting front row. I looked over and I was like, I think that's him. He was like end zone, kind of like there. Anyways, I don't want to rat him out, but like people around him, you could see them kind of leaning down below the boards and like vaping and like blowing it out. All along that area. So I mean, like, it's illegal. You're not supposed to do it, but it's.
I feel like it's such a common thing, though.
For sure. We're kind of here in the last bit, but I have one. Okay. I have one random one. This is very random. So I was with a bunch of with my family and friends on the weekend, and some of the girls start talking about horoscopes, right? And I'm like, oh, here we go. And
great answer, great comment.
I think to preface this before I get into it, I think it's all fugazi. It's all BS. I don't believe in it. I think the stuff they say is generic. I could go on and on. Anyone who agrees with me understands what I'm saying. Anyone who disagrees has probably heard someone say this, so I don't need to keep outlining why I think it is. I think we agree on this. Okay. But somebody said something interesting to me that made me think.
All right, let's hear it.
Okay. So they were all reading the horoscopes. They're like, oh, it's so true. I'm like, okay, yeah, it could be, but it also could be about me. You
might meet the love of your life.
It could also be about me. Anyways.
You're going to overcome a serious challenge.
One of my family friends who was there, she said to me, she goes, okay, all this stuff is, I guess, the horoscopes are predicated on the moon, the stars, stuff like that. And if I'm messing this up, I apologize to anybody who loves horoscopes. But more or less, the moon and the sun and the stars dictate it, right? Okay. So the moon and the sun and the stars also have a big impact on like the tides, the currents, all that stuff, right? They move water essentially. Humans are made up of 80% water.
Yep.
So how would if the stars, the moon, and the sun impact the currents and the oceans, how would they not impact the water that's inside of us and impact our moods and all that stuff? I think I said that right. Yeah. So I'm not saying it changed my opinion, but it made me think. My response was, because I'm like, okay, if that is true and the moon does impact us because we are made up of predominantly water, how did they figure out what that moon in that spot makes me feel this way? Like, how did they kind of, what am I trying to say? Like, how did they do a study, or how did they kind of reduce it down to, okay, your moon is rising and you're a Taurus here, so that means you're stubborn, this and that. Like, who was the first person to sit down and figure out the dates that align with these stars, and then figure out what corresponds, like what mood and what vibe and what energy corresponds with that, and then also corresponds with, the moon here and the sun there and the stars there. So while it did make me think for a second that, okay, maybe that it does have some impact on us, I had to figure it out. So I guess what I'm saying to you, I don't even know what I'm asking you, but I want to share this.
I agree 100%. My thing is...
so explain. Yeah.
My thing is if the sun moves this way and the sun and the water moves this way, all the water in that ocean moves together. It's not each water particle moving separately. So then we all move together. Everyone in this region should move together.
What do you mean?
So when the sun rises, when the sun sets, water rises, right? Or vice versa. Don't know.
Sets water.
Because water.
No, low tide goes out. Tides come in the day. Tide goes out at night.
Okay, so when the sun rises, water goes out. Sun goes down. Water goes down.
You said down and out twice. Sun goes up. Water comes in.
Out.
Water comes in.
Yeah.
And tide comes in. The moon rises. It pulls the water out.
Yeah. So if that happens, that lake or that ocean or that sea, whatever, it goes in sync.
Yeah.
So then we should all go in sync. We should all be fucking hormonal today, and we should all be assholes and all be...
That's fair, but also that, and I've thought about this separately, the ocean is all connected. Like water touches, not everywhere, but for the most part, it touches all. Yep. Like, So it's like it ebbs and
water
flows.
touches literally everything.
Yeah. But I mean, like the whole ocean is the whole ocean. So it all ebbs and flows together, more or less, right? There's currents that go different ways. We're not like, even though humans might be connected in some capacity, we're not all like, our water is not all connected at the same time. It's all fragmented.
Yeah, but everyone in this area, technically, if the sun rises, like me and you, sun goes down together, our waters should be coming back together. We're not.
I understand what you're saying. I just find the way you're explaining it so funny.
No, but for me with horoscopes, this is what I've been saying lately. Because do you believe in God?
I believe in
a higher power.
Yeah, I believe in God. Do I know what God is? No, but I believe in God.
But you believe in a higher power.
Yes, I believe in God.
Let's call him God, Allah, whatever his name is. So who am I to tell some 25-year-old woman that her belief in these mythological stars and signs and blah blah blah
astrological?
Is wrong? Yeah.
Oh, you mean, I know what you meant. Sorry, you're right.
You know what I mean? Like the Libra.
Like yeah. It's like if I believe in Zeus. Like,
or the Leo or the Scorpion. You believe in these mythological creatures that dictate your mood. Cool. As long as it makes you a better person, you don't harm people and you don't force it on other people. You fucking believe in what you want to believe in. Because I believe in a dude that apparently turned water into wine and parted the seas and blah blah blah. Like,
but you know what's interesting
so
too,
who am I to tell someone else no?
Now that like I don't want to go too long on this, but what's interesting is like the ancient Greeks, they didn't believe in, I don't believe they believed in a singular like God. They believed in gods.
Gods, yeah.
Titans, gods, whatever.
Zeus,
right, but a lot of those have to do with, I think, like astrological signs and that sort of thing. Like I don't think they actually saw Poseidon, right? No. But he dictated what happened in the ocean and it was relative to something that happened in the sky. So if they thought that back then, you know, sure, could it have been made up and more like, you know, just wives' tale? It could be, but there's probably some underlying like truth or reality there that they believed and actually impacted something, and they defined it a certain way. I don't know. I try very hard to be open-minded. Again, I said at the beginning, do I think this stuff is kind of a fugazi? Not kind of. I do think it is. Because like I think it's meant to like, you know, captivate people and tell them what they want to hear and you know, kind of help them find their way in life. But at the same time, could I definitively say that it's not true? I can't.
No.
And I'm curious, like maybe we should do more research. I'm just curious, like
no, please no.
Who? No,
I know a couple girls we can call. You want to do an episode on?
You know what? Should we do one just for the sake of doing it? I'm genuinely curious.
Sure.
I know how that episode probably is gonna go. But I'm actually curious if somebody.
I've hung out with enough women that believe in this to fucking like we believe the sky is fucking blue and the sun is fucking fiery hot. They believe in these horoscopes. There's like as soon as they started talking, I was like, well, what about this? And you poke flaws in like, again, this is me just being nice because at the end of the day, a lot of them are beautiful women, right? Like I'm not gonna talk down to these women and be like, yo, your fucking thing's fugazi. But at the same time, I listened and I was like, look, I respect you. I respect your opinion. I believe that you believe in this. And who am I to tell you otherwise? But I will not be convinced otherwise.
That's fair. See, I don't know if I'd ever say like
maybe we need an expert though.
But that's also why like we
gotta come with our time, the time we're born and everything.
There is definitely things in life that I say, you know, you cannot change my opinion on this. I don't think it's correct. But I also believe that that's wrong. And I believe that you should always believe what you believe until there is new data presented or new facts presented. And in that case, you should always be open-minded because at the end of the day, that's in theory, that's how science works, right?
Yes.
Something like the stress test, it's irrefutable that this is the truth. And then 10 years later, they find something new out, a little sliver of thing. And now this can't be the truth because now you can refute it. So now there's a new truth. And I believe that like that's honestly, and maybe that's more of a philosophical thing and another conversation for another one, but I do believe that you should like.
Let's get an astrology person on this podcast.
I'm not saying they're going to change my mind, but I'm just curious, and I don't want someone to come out like, oh well, it said this and this happened. That's not how you prove a point. Like you have to bring something that substantiates.
Someone who studies the fucking stars and the moon and shit.
Like does it start? Like where does it come from? Where's the history? Yeah, we need an astrology expert.
Let's go to U of T or York or whatever, one of these schools, and find someone who's studying astrology.
If anybody out there who made it to the end here knows someone in the astrology space, astronomy, astrology, they're different. They're different.
Astrology,
but astronomy also is the sky and the stars. Yeah. And I'd be genuinely curious if they think that there is an impact of like what happens up there impacts people. They're different.
Okay. We'll start with astrology and then we'll go to astronomy.
Yeah, astronomy's like
oh, bro, it's
Neil deGrasse Tyson is an astronomer.
Yeah, imagine we grabbed what's his face to the astronaut from here.
Oh,
a lot of them are astronomers.
Chris Hadfield.
There we go. We need him actually.
Yeah.
We need him.
I really want to have an astronaut on here.
Chris Hadfield.
Last question. If you had the opportunity, would you go to space?
Fuck, what?
Yeah?
Is that, like, does anybody say no to that? Like, if it's free, I'm talking.
Well, when I was younger, I would have been terrified because you see, like, back in the day, you saw those crashes and everything.
Bro, are you kidding?
But I would go to space, yeah.
Man, when it's your time to go, you're going to go. Whether it's in space, whether it's here, whether it's a car, it doesn't matter. When it's your time, you're going to go.
Yeah.
If my time's to go up space, fuck, man, I've got a crazy-ass view on my way out. Are you kidding? I would...
Okay, the second follow-up question. If you had an option to go to space, but you can only pick one. Option one is you go up to space, and you do like a couple orbits of the Earth, like proper orbits in space at the space station. Let's say dock International Space Station, orbits and back. That's option one.
How long?
However long it takes.
Okay,
A month. Option two is you fly out, you go to the moon, you land on the moon, you go back, and come back. You just go do a little bounce around and come back. Option three, you're the first person. You're on the first flight to Mars, but we've never been there, so you don't know what's going to happen. You're flying to Mars, you have to land on the red planet, touch down, and come back. That probably takes a lot longer. But one of those three options for your only trip to space in your life, what would you choose? And you're going tomorrow.
I'm going to Mars.
Yeah?
Oh, fuck yeah, man.
You want to be a pioneer.
But you get to see what nobody else has seen with their own eyes. Oh,
Seen, stepped on, touched, nothing.
Like, that's insane. What about you? Like, Mars to me... Doing something that nobody's done is just fucking cool to me. You know what I mean? Like, I'm always trying to do new random things.
I'd probably go to the moon.
Really?
Yeah, because it's been done. So I'd feel comfortable that, like, okay, the margin for error, margin of safety is probably way higher than Mars. Oh. The likelihood of landing and not having anything is probably higher.
Like they're coming back.
Also, like being able to walk on the moon and like look at Earth from the other perspective, I think is unbelievable. And I'm just curious. I don't know, the dark side of the moon, man. I'm always just like, you always wonder what is back there.
Gremlins live up there.
You know,
it'd be wild. Yeah, I would be happy to do any of those. Like,
this is my favorite episode. This is my favorite Pals episode, pal. I'm not drinking a beer, but
we were good on this one. Eh? We stuck to the topics.
Yeah,
we covered about 5 or 6 different topics.
Yeah. You know what? I checked off all the ones I wanted to. There's like 2 more, but I'll save them.
We didn't talk about Oktoberfest. We'll save that for next.
That was one of mine on my list.
Yeah, we'll save it for next episode because honestly, it just didn't fit in this one.
Yeah,
we didn't really talk travel.
No, and you know what? There's 2 that coincide there. But
I know next week is good because you're coming back from San Fran. You did Tampa.
Yeah.
I'm not going away anytime soon.
San Fran, going for work in Napa Valley for a day.
So we have a couple things.
Yeah.
All right. Well, guys.
One last shout out, Erdinger. Guys, go get your tickets to Oktoberfest. It's gonna be a blast. You know, my pal, the pals are gonna be there. You know, Rick loves a good festival. He loves a good festival. Go get your tickets. Links in the bio. The discount code is
PalsPod.
PalsPod.
$5 off.
Go get your tickets now.
And we're gonna. You know what? One of the contests. If you made it to the end of this, send us a DM and share a clip and tag us, and you get 2 free tickets. I like that.
Yeah, we should do that.
So that's what it is. If you listen to the end of this,
we'll post them on every episode, like just one contest.
Tag, share any clip, any Pals podcast clip on Instagram or Facebook. Tag us in it, and if you're the first person, you'll win 2 free tickets to Friday or Saturday's Oktoberfest.
You heard it here first. Oh my God, I got tongue tied there. You heard it here first, pals. Get your tickets to Oktoberfest. Support the pals. Go like this episode. Hit that subscribe button.
And share with your friends.
Tell your parents about it too. See you later.